I'm sorry if I sound a little bit different. I am sick, so please excuse me for how I sound. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So if you didn't know, that this place in Dublin, right, or have taken place in Dublin, which is an ongoing part of the NFL, part of their initiative to expand the game internationally overseas. I think it's pretty cool. You see, as this photo right here, you got Carson Wentz and Aaron Rodgers and JJ. Well, not on the poster for it. I think it's nice. It was a pretty nice game. Right, so if you didn't watch the game, I'm gonna talk about it with you, right? So going into this game, it was still a little bit of a question mark on JJ McCarthy, but it did come out that he will be returning around week 7 or later. As you can see right here, I found this simply on Google. Don't know how accurate this is, but it is on Google. JJ McCarthy is currently suffering from a high right ankle sprain, which he sustained in week 2. This ankle injury sidelined him for multiple games. He's expected to miss more time as he continues to rehab, missing the bye week and returning around week 7 or later. This follows a previous season-ending injury in 2024, a torn meniscus in his right knee that required surgery and forced him to miss the entirety of his rookie season. Right? It looked like he did struggle to generate power through his hips and from the ground into his throwing motion. I wonder if those are some lingering side effects or of those injuries. Will he be able to get past those and properly rehab? I don't know. Those are all questions that I'm asking, and let's get to the bottom of it together in this video. Carson is around 35 years old. I don't know his particular age, but I know he is older in years, and it's kind of takes me back to Golden State Warriors. If you are interested in basketball, most definitely subscribe, because I will be talking about those. But they are, since 2022, their championship winning year against the Celtics, they have been in a 2-timeline ideal, right? And they really haven't been able to pick a direction of what they wanted to go in. And it's kind of the same here. You always have this window, right? And I think just being insightful enough to understand that the Vikings have a window here with his development. Will it be worth it if it is a loss? I have looked at other content creators saying this is a Super Bowl or bust season. I think it only gets there if you start Carson Wentz over Max Brosmer. And I say that is because Carson Wentz is old. You need to give people time to develop. And starting Carson over Max, even though Max was an undrafted free agent, he still has credible talent and upside, I do believe personally. But let me know about Max and his talent and abilities in the comments. What does this mean? That just means what I just stated. It really does mean that the Vikings are pretty much going to push a Super Bowl title this year. I would like to see how they do. If they want Carson to be the helm of it, I don't too much disagree. You still have to maximize your window. This will mean that you have wasted a season. I believe that the Vikings are going to have a rotating door of quarterbacks this season. How good is Carson Wentz, and can he be quarterback 1? I do believe Carson Wentz is a pretty good talent, as I have evaluated his talent in my previous videos. But assessing Carson Wentz's talent on his own is a little bit different. I don't believe that he will be having a lot of success. I do believe Carson Wentz is a pretty good quarterback, but to say that he is more valuable than a Max or any other quarterback that might be on a free agent list, I don't know, because then again, he has experience being on a playoff team, but like this overall NFL experience, how good is that experience? I do feel like experience is sometimes something that is overvalued. Way more focused on development, seeing that you are in a conference, the NFC North, with the Lions and Green Bay, and not to mention, but we'll mention the Bears. The Bears are a pretty good team. I wonder if they won a game today. I'm going to most definitely check on that with you guys. I don't have my phone right here. But even with them, they have decent upside in their future. And so focusing on the future will be pretty decent because you already have a nice team. I feel like that's what it is. Can you get better? I don't really think so. It's not too much better you can do on the free agency market. But you can just explore your options, was there any upside? There is pretty upside. So I'm not going to really answer that question. How did Jordan Addison look? Jordan Addison was okay. He had a great catch that I wish he would have turned into a touchdown. But, we can't have it all. Was there still any quarterbacks problems with quarterbacks missing him? If you didn't know, from his last season with Sam Darnold, there were times where Sam Darnold would admittedly miss him, which caused his father in him to speak out. But with that being said, I feel like Carson ended up redeeming himself. They only lost by 3 points. But then again, I do wish that, you guys do look for him. But when you're missing for 3 games, it's hard to insert yourself back into the offense on a whim. Even if you were practicing with them, these are live game NFL reps. How did he look when he got the ball? He actually looked pretty amazing. I was pretty impressed with him when he did get the ball. I just wish he got more targets and more catches. Can we have used him in week 2? I believe so, but I do believe that game we did lose was a lot out of reach due to the quarterback. And it was more of a team thing where we were stepping on our own foot, but I do not think that he would have won us the game in week 2. But if he was there, I feel like he would build more continuity with the team, leading probably to a victory, which in a close game is like this. All right, the Vikings were like just out of field goal range, and they tacked on like 2 penalties in like 10 seconds. It was all bad. What's wrong with Justin Jefferson? Honestly, it's nothing really wrong with him in particularly. He's going to have a revolving door. Quarterbacks, J.J. McCarthy, quite literally, was basically starting his rookie campaign, right, for the second time all over again because he didn't get to play last year. Now he's potentially dealing with another circulation of quarterbacks. And I'm not as strong on Carson as I am on Darnold, but I will say that they both are projected to. Darnold at this point in time was not. He wasn't looked highly upon on. I only say this as hindsight, as Darnold have proven to himself. But looking at what Darnold was last year compared to what Carson Wentz was this year, and I'm not talking about inner season Darnold, but preseason Darnold, before we got to see the 14-3. I would have taken Carson Wentz over Darnold. So that is something that I feel like can be talked about as a bright side. I just feel like Kevin O'Connell did okay, but different play calling for him. I feel like sometimes Carson Wentz only looked his way, which caused him to miss Addison. Right, he would only look at Justin Jefferson, and he threw it into double coverage when Jordan Addison beat his corner and was able to get past the safety just to not be targeted. And for it to happen again, I think in the fourth quarter where he almost scored the touchdown, what if that happened, right? What if he caught it then? Not even say that he had scored, but been in field goal position, and now we're looking at a game that goes into overtime, right? I do believe those type of decisions compound, and that is a lot to do with the coach. You got to drill in these time management, 2 minute drills. You got to instill these, and for the first half of that last minute, the Steelers were stepping on their own toes, and it is the 4th game But Kevin O'Connell, you are a veteran. You got to instill these into your young star players, and I get it, they are young, but this is when coaching is most needed the most. And I do believe too many ghost stars out there. You do have Naylor, Addison, Hawkinson, Oliver, Naylor, I already said. Even then, you want to get some decent running backs, some notable running backs, and Mason and Cam Akers and Aaron Jordan, but which is also a direct contradictory, because it's like, okay, you are looking his way too much, but it's feel like you're not targeting him enough, right? I feel like when you threw it into double coverage, and I'm talking to Carson Wentz, right? That was not a good play, right? And you can't blame that on O'Connell or in Justin Jefferson or Addison, right? But on plays not as specific as that, right? Because I feel like if you just look at that, then you're like, what I'm talking about. You need to target him more. Justin Jefferson has one touchdown this season, I think. One touchdown this season, and that's not good. It's 4 games. Get him 2. He need at least 2, but he got 1. So, but he has some decent yards though. And I would expect that Justin Jefferson not get too many touchdowns again like this season as he did last season and the season prior to that. How was the running game? The running game was okay. But you just really can't run the game when you start losing, right? My thing is, right, I would actually want to see the Vikings run a lot more out the gate. They are sometimes a pass-heavy offense to a fault, but when your best players are your wide receivers, you're going to throw the ball, right? But like, just try to get the running game a little bit more in there, right? Because it's really hard to talk about the running game when you're down, right? What was this? I can't remember how it went. I know the Steelers scored. I think it was 10-0, 10-3 at some point, or 14-3, 14-7. I can't quite remember. The Steelers were up, and it just made it harder, especially like with a lot of the early Vikings struggle. They didn't really make this into a game until like literally the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. So I don't believe we should make a trade. I did make this a little bit ahead of time, but I don't think we should make a trade. It's not so much we can do better. I really do think it's kind of play calling and more a little bit of the offensive line. Maybe you can get some offensive line guys from free agency draft or free agency pool. Look at some, but I don't see too much on the run game getting better than what it already is. But to head this out, I just wanted to make a note to Kevin O'Connell. Trusting your young guys more though, and I'm just saying that with the quarterbacks, but in all over the roster, trusting your young guys a little bit more. I know you've seen the play with Turner. We gotta teach him, hey man. But then again, bro, he had his face mask, so I mean, just trust in him, work with him, help stop the penalties, and get the run game more often. This is stuff I reiterated throughout the video, but I just want to see him, drill a lot more consistency and expectations into this team. So penalties like what happened to Dallas Turner won't happen in the future, because honestly, situation happened with Shakur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, and Shakur Sanders' brother, where he got waived off the Buccaneer. And seeing as Turner is a black individual, I will want the best for him, but to also just not feed into that type of stuff. But other than that, I still think Kevin O'Connell is a good coach, even proving it down all the way into the last couple of minutes where the game was kind of really outside of his hands. We all know once it gets to that 2-minute mark, it's really little input that the coach can do, because it really does come down to drilling and practice. You cannot sit there and have 10, 20, 30 seconds to run off a play, right? And that's how they got called for delay of game. I think they thought they called a timeout, but I think it was a 10-second clock run off, which ended up causing them to get a delay of game. With that being said, just drill this stuff into this team, because it is actually a little bit of young pieces on the team, but this have been a little bit of roster turnover throughout the last couple of years, not just last year coming into this year, but the year before that. And you have quarterbacks cycling in and out the door. You got some new running backs and some new pieces on defense. And so things are going to look a little bit differently. So just drill that consistency, but also togetherness as well. I didn't see too much internal fighting, not any at all. So that's good. I was just bringing up that togetherness to probably help stop the penalties. But without further ado, thank you guys for watching the video. I really do appreciate you guys sitting here and watching the video and listening to my sickened voice. But if you really did appreciate this video, guys, man, give this a like up and subscribe. Without further ado, you guys stay lit.